The second reason is that I'm assuming here that most of you are here today on a bright, lovely Sunday morning because you are quite concerned about this particular area and this particular issue. Which means that each and every one of you need to utilize every single aspect of the media in order to become fully efficient, in order to fully grasp the vast reach of today's media, to understand how various age groups, whether my kids of 7 or 11, or the teenagers of 15 or 16, or university students, or the early professionals, the mid-20s, or the 30s, or the middle-aged, how they all these age groups, all these genders, what kind of media they interact with, they rely on for their information, and they utilize, and they capitalize on in order to convey their own respective messages. Imagine, we're talking, Brother Mashoud, when he opened, he said that, generally speaking, it's an area of failure. The issue of media is an area of failure. Now that's when we're thinking about TV, radio, and the press. We still haven't assessed our performance in all the rest. So we need to think about all these and how we can capitalize. And it also falls down to something else. This is something that's just occurred to me, so I'm going to say it's for 3 reasons. And that is that not everyone is good or comfortable or is efficient in dealing with TV or radio or writing in newspapers. Does that mean that they have no place in the world of media? It does not. It means that virtually every one of us has a place and has a role to play when it comes to the world of media. Now, moving on, the essential role of the media, I think this is very important. Let's remind ourselves and recap. And by the way, this is a very general overview of what the media is about, so that when I hand over to Brother Nuruddin and then the subsequent speakers, you can then maybe relate to some of these general concepts and maybe see how all the subsequent ideas come through. Essentially, the role of the media is this. It's to inform. Anyone disputing this? I think we're all in agreement that it's to inform. Now, I'm not judging. I'm not saying inform something that's good, something that's useful, something that's bad, detrimental. It doesn't matter. It's to inform. Also, it's to report. Again, any disputes? I doubt it. And then we have to cover. Now, what's the difference between reporting and covering? When we say a car accident on Baker Street just outside and someone got injured. I'm reporting, I'm telling you. To cover, Jazakallah khair, to cover is to delve deeper beyond the surface and to analyze and to say that the driver seemed to be intoxicated and to say that the car appeared to be in an unhealthy state and to say that the person who got injured, for instance, was someone who was jaywalking. It's to actually go deeper than the mere coverage of the news. There's a news report and then there is actually going down. It's the analysis, the kind of giving you certain hints, giving you sides of the story that at first you maybe didn't realize that you needed to know, but now that you know it, you can see how useful it is to you forming that kind of overall picture. So that's the difference. And then I'm going to add something else to the mix, and I've deliberately added a question mark to educate. Because the question is, can the media presume that it has an educational role? That's a very controversial issue. I may say yes, it can presume that it has an educational role. Regardless of the fact whether it educates or not, that's not the question. The question is it part of the media's role, an objective to educate? Can the media, when setting up an organization, can I say, my duty towards my public is to educate them? Is that too presumptuous, or is it correct? So I've put it in there because I think that there can be an argument or a discussion about this, but I've put the question mark just in case. Going on to the next slide. Now, whilst those are the essential these are the essential roles of the media, to inform, to report, and to cover, and maybe to educate, but there are some byproducts. There are some things that come along. And these are where we fall into controversy about how healthy or otherwise the media is. Because no one is going to say, well, by stating the fact that there was a car accident in Baker Street, this is a bad media. I mean, you can't say whether it's bad or good. It's doing an essential job. But these byproducts are what make this media useful or otherwise. And essentially, I try to, and there are many, many byproducts, but I try to mention 5. First of all, to educate, because I think that whether you argue this is part of the essential role or whether it's a byproduct, regardless, but it educates. People are learning, they're getting their life experiences, they're learning about various other things, things in the world through the media. Also, to communicate. And if you go back to the forms of media that we mentioned, I'm pretty sure that we will all agree that, you know, we can. And by the way, one of the shamefully, I watch very little TV. I mean, I have to say, I don't have to stay in hotels, and because, you know, you have times when you need to switch off after a long day's work, you switch on the TV. And I am often aghast, and Brother Nuruddin would say, because this is his area, the immense number of, the vast number of channels in the Arab world. I mean, we're talking about hundreds, something like 300 channels. I mean, just to flick through one by one, it takes you about 500 plus. It takes you about, seriously, about 40 minutes just to flick from one channel to another, not stopping at any one. It takes about 40 to 45 minutes. It's immense. It's immense. Now, I was interested and intrigued by some of the channels that they're what the media people call the ticker, you know, that's static, it doesn't move, there's no presenters, nothing at all. And there is this ticker. And basically this ticker, the items there are people who text each other. To this, as crazy as this sounds, but I was actually hypnotized, and I sat watching for about 20 minutes. And there was nothing. It was a blank screen. I'm not blank in terms of, but it was static. But just this ticker, and I was there 20 minutes just reading people communicating with each other, people who don't know their, you know, the faces, they don't know the other people, but they're communicating from corners of the world that actually receive this particular channel. So it's to communicate, and obviously we can think about, you know, hundreds of other examples. To entertain, I don't think that anyone can dispute that that is also a byproduct. Also, some people, by the way, can argue that this is an essential role of the media. Actually, most have said, no, entertainment is something that is a byproduct of the media. Propagate, meaning to advertise, to promote, to push forth a particular idea, a particular product, a particular person. I mean, we can think about all these things. And this is where controversy really falls, to instigate change. And we've seen how this happened. We've seen what happened in the Ukraine, the Orange Revolution 3-4 years ago. We're seeing what's happening in Iran, for instance, today. We can see what's happening in Afghanistan, and the role of the media. It instigates change. Now, this is where the media really, you know, has a lot to answer for. And we can also discuss whether it's a good thing or not. Because we can say, well, actually, it's quite good. But we don't need to have tanks and rockets launchers and missiles and the such in order to create change. We could do it, you know, the velvety way. We can change things through the TV and radio and press. That's a nice way to change things. A bloodless kind of revolution and bloodless way of change. We can argue that. Anyway. So these are the byproducts of the media. Now, I'm not sure whether I need to spend much time on this, but I'm going to anyway, and that is the importance of the media. Now, I'm going to run through these because we don't have time, plus I think that most of you will know about this even more than I do. First of all, the essential nature of da'wah. Da'wah is to call, to invite. So the media is, rather than you inviting one person or 3 people or 5 people or the such that you can reach to, you're actually reaching to thousands upon thousands upon thousands. So in terms of how it fits within our overall mentality and attitude, in terms of us being du'at, callers, inviters to what is good, the media is a very, very useful tool. In fact, some may say that it's actually an essential tool of being a da'iyah. Also, it's a very effective and efficient means of delivery. Third, it's instant broadcast and transmission. You don't need to write a book that you're hoping that by next year it would have reached 5,000 readers or 10,000 readers or so. It's instant broadcast and transmission.